So in my hands, I have a calendar, and I will be marking August 2nd, 2022 as one of the biggest days in the history of baseball. One of the biggest trades ever. Juan Soto is going to the Padres, and in return, the Nationals are getting one of the biggest hauls that this game has ever seen. So yeah, forgive me if I don't talk about any other trade, because Juan Soto going to the Padres, I need an entire video to break it down. So yeah, the deadline kind of went from sleeping like Tony La Russa to the Padres again making one of the biggest trades that we have ever seen in this great, beautiful game. And without further ado, let's break it down. Now, again, other trades are happening as we speak. Like as I was recording, the Marlins and the Blue Jays made a deal. We'll talk about that in the second video that is coming out later today, so be sure to subscribe and have your bells turned on. So here is the trade. Well, actually, there are a few different iterations of this trade, so let me just be honest, it is going to be fluid. Some pieces could be changing because Eric Hosmer, who was part of the first deal, had a no trade clause. He has rejected the trade, so I don't know if the Padres are going to DFA him. I don't know if they're going to swap out Eric Hosmer for Trent Grisham or Will Myers. So keep that in mind. The other prospects that are in this list, that's pretty much a done deal, but the final player, whether it's Eric Hosmer accepting a trade and changing his mind, or whether it's Will Myers or someone else replacing him, just remember that going forward. Okay, so quick little update on Hosmer. He has been traded to the Red Sox. I don't know what the Red Sox are doing, and also my friend Joey Gallo just got traded, so we have a lot to talk about in the second video. The Nationals are getting MacKenzie Gore, Robert Hassell, CJ Abrams, James Wood, and Jarlin Susana. If you are not into prospects or you don't know anything about farm systems, you might be thinking, the Nationals got fleeced. I don't know one single player in that deal, maybe aside from MacKenzie Gore, but I promise you guys, I'm going to have your back. I have done a great job at prospecting over the last year of collecting cards, so I know that these players, not only are they good, but they have a chance to be special. So if you're a Nationals fan, bear with me. So the Nationals are getting 23-year-old MacKenzie Gore, who has been a highly touted prospect for the last, what seems like half decade. Everyone has been talking about Gore, and in his first 7 starts, he was sensational with a 10 strikeouts per 9 and a 1.7 ERA. He was absolutely insane, but he had some injury concerns in the month of July. He was terrible last month, but I promise you guys, MacKenzie Gore is going to be a mainstay in that rotation with Josiah Gray and the other guys that you have acquired over the last few years. So MacKenzie Gore, that gets a thumbs up from me. Another big time thumbs up, you get Robert Hassell. Let me break it down because he was the 8th overall pick in 2022. The 20-year-old, he is extremely young, super prospect. I'm going to give him that label. He is a super prospect. He has been touted for the last few years as possibly the best athlete in the entire minor league system. He's hitting .299 with 10 home runs and 20 stolen bases in 75 games. So this kid, in my opinion, is legit. He is the number 21 prospect in all of baseball right now, according to Major League Baseball. So Robert Hassell and MacKenzie Gore, that is a big time haul already, but we're not done just yet. They're also getting a young prospect, a 19-year-old in James Wood. And a lot of people are comparing him to Aaron Judge. Not that he's going to be as good as Aaron Judge, but because James Wood is 6'7", 240, and has maybe the best power in all of the minors. That's why he's getting the comp. He's just a lefty, so it doesn't really make sense, but I understand why they are making the comparisons. So let me read off his stats real quick, because I know it's A-ball, so take it with a grain of salt, but he's basically hitting .340 with 19 doubles, 10 home runs in just 50 games. James Wood, Robert Hassell, MacKenzie Gore, that is some of the best young talent that you can get across Major League Baseball, and we're not done yet. They also get shortstop CJ Abrams, who was formerly a top 10 prospect before he graduated to Major League Baseball. So the ceiling on this kid is almost immeasurable because of his power speed combination. In 30 AAA games this year, he hit .314 with 7 home runs, 10 stolen bases. He got on base 36% of the time, which is really good, and he plays plus defense. So the speed, the power, the defense, it's all there. Now, he hasn't been the best offensively. I will say that out loud for all of you Nationals fans. He's kind of been faltering at the major league level offensively, but that's because he's a rookie, he's young, he's going to need some time to develop. But honestly, these are some really highly touted prospects and names that are not cheap if you're trying to collect baseball cards. So if you want any of these guys, it is going to cost you a lot of money. That's how good and highly touted they have been. And then also they got Jarlin Susana. He is the number 14 prospect. He is 6'6" at 18 years old, and he can already throw 100 to 101 miles an hour. In his first 29 innings of rookie ball, he has a 2.45 ERA and 44 strikeouts in those same 29 innings. So the full trade right now, aside from Eric Hosmer, because that situation is fluid, he might change his mind. I don't think he will because, again, he has the no trade clause. The Nationals are on that list of teams he can't be traded to. Plus, he has a baby on the way, so I don't think he's trying to, uproot his family right now. So I don't expect Eric Hosmer to be part of this trade. He has already rejected it. They get MacKenzie Gore, Robert Hassell, CJ Abrams, James Wood, and Jarlin Susana. You have to tip your cap to the Padres because they have signed players, they have traded for players, they have developed players. They are one of the cream of the crop in terms of organizations right now because they can afford to part with prospects because, one, they can afford free agents. We'll talk about that in just a second because they might be at $1 billion if they choose to re-sign Soto once his contract comes to a conclusion. But the Padres, again, they are up there with the upper echelon of highly ran teams right now with the Dodgers and the Yankees because they can afford to lose prospects to get super teams constructed, and it's just kind of unfair. But you know what? Again, respect. So let's talk about why the Padres decided to part ways with some of their youngest players, and not only young, but some of their more highly touted prospects as well. They are getting Juan Soto, who is a 23-year-old reincarnated Ted Williams. Okay, so he's not going to hit 406 like Ted Williams, but he has the second highest on-base percentage entering their age 23 season. The only guy ahead of him, Ted Williams. So Juan Soto is an on-base god. He is a Greek god with plate discipline. Juan Soto is absolutely a top 5 player in baseball. Over the last 2 seasons, he has an otherworldly 442 on-base percentage and an insane 956 OPS. This trade should not be happening. A 23-year-old top 5 player in baseball should not be available to any team. And now that I think about it, yes, the Nationals are retooling and maybe they can get Juan Soto back once his contract expires, but you've lost Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, Max Scherzer, and Trey freaking Turner, who seems like he's getting better with age. I mean, the Nationals, you have to almost be ashamed of yourself because, yes, you won that World Series, but at what cost? I mean, you could ask Thanos. It was pretty much the same answer. What did it cost? Everything. So the Nationals get their championship, but in the process lose their absolutely historic core. I'm just kind of sad I wasn't able to see Bryce and Scherzer and Trey and Soto all on one postseason team. It really makes me sad. But not only did they get Juan Soto, they got Josh Bell, who is soon to be 30 years old. He is in the middle of the best season he's ever had in Major League Baseball. This guy is a switch-hitting extra base machine who is hitting .301 with an insane 152 OPS plus. He is in the conversation to be a top 5 first baseman in baseball right now, at least according to the season that he's having. I'm not saying that he is, but he definitely is in that argument right now just based off his 22 stats alone. So over the last 24 hours, the Padres have acquired maybe the best closer in baseball in Josh Hader. They got Juan Soto and Josh Bell in the same trade. I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. That is the best trade deadline this game of baseball has ever seen. AJ Preller of the Padres, the guy's an absolute madman. He is a maniac, and honestly, as a Guardians fan, I'm sure if you're a fan of any other team, you're jealous of the Padres because they're not afraid to go for it, and they have the prospect capital and the actual capital in terms of funds to go for whoever they want, when they want. And again, I'm really jealous. So before we talk about what this means for the rest of baseball and the future of the Padres, let's break it down one more time. So Eric Hosmer has already rejected this trade, so he will not be part of it. So the Padres are getting maybe a replacement player for Hosmer, or I don't really know what's going to happen, but the facts remain. MacKenzie Gore, Robert Hassell, CJ Abrams, James Wood, and Jarlin Susana are all going to the Washington Nationals in exchange for 23-year-old superstar, the Home Run Derby champion, and World Series champion Juan Soto. They also get Josh Bell, who's having one of the better seasons of any first baseman this year, so there is no room for Eric Hosmer. I expect him to get traded or DFA'd, so let me know in the comments. What do you make of this monumental day in Major League Baseball history? Truly historic. I mean, honestly, I really don't know what to say. Fernando Tatis Jr. is coming back. He's going to be healthy in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Juan Soto is going to be interjected in that lineup with Manny Machado. You're still going to have pieces around him that just Jake Cronenworth and Jorge Alfaro is breaking out. I mean, God. So what does this mean for the rest of Major League Baseball? Do the Dodgers have to feel like they need to counter? Maybe they go out and acquire Ian Happ. I really feel like Ian Happ would be a fantastic fit in that lineup. He's a switch hitter who, just like Josh Bell, is having the best season of his career. Do the Braves now feel like they're behind the 8 ball? Do they have to go out and acquire maybe someone like Jock Peterson? Are the Giants going to turn into sellers now that the Padres and the Dodgers are so vastly ahead of them in terms of the division as well as the wild card race? Maybe they let go of Carlos Rodon. And also, this this trade, what does it mean for Juan Soto? We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. If the Padres do in fact choose to re-sign Juan Soto in 2025, I think it is, after 2.5 years, Juan Soto will be a free agent. They've already given Manny Machado a ton of money. I think $300 million plus. They've given Fernando Tatis $300 million plus. Juan Soto is going to get $450+ million. Can they afford to re-sign him? I really feel like they can, because if you've been to a Padres game in the last few weeks, even without Fernando Tatis Jr., that place gets absolutely crowded, and they are making a ton of money behind the scenes. Also, I think they're partners with the restaurants around, what is it called, Petco Park as well. So they're making money hand in fist with ticket sales, with merch sales, with the restaurants surrounding the stadium. I mean, they are making so much money. All right. So that is the conclusion of this Juan Soto trade. Again, this situation is fluid, so I'll try and update you guys in the second video if anything changes, whether Eric Hosmer, maybe he comes around and saying, you know what, I will take it off the chin. I will go to the Nationals as long as they promise to release me by the end of the season so I can choose to go elsewhere. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Eric Hosmer has kind of lost all of his leverage because he has been not very good over the last few weeks. So in a nutshell, that is the full Juan Soto trade. Again, a truly historic day in the game of baseball. Mark your calendars, August 2nd, 2022, the day that Ted Williams 2.0 got traded.